Hi everyone, this is my guide to crafting my shield wall character. Starting with the budget version, you're going to want to get yourself any weapon with a strength requirement less than 100. And I will have all the affixes listed here. You're going to want to get reduced attributes or one of these other ones to start with. Then you are going to want to use your perfect essence of battle and slam that on. It will remove one of the affixes and replace it with your skills that you need. Once that's on, depending on where it took the affix from, you can put on another affix with your Exalt, and if all of the mods are full, you can now take your Essence of Abrasion, and this will replace a prefix, because it's a prefix itself. So you don't need to worry about it pulling on one of your suffixes off if every single one of the affixes is full. If they're not full, then you have the chance to rip something off of a suffix. So now you want to take your omen of the Liege, omen of sinistral necromancy, trigger those on, and then you want to use your preserved jawbone and slam your desecration, which should replace a prefix modifier. If you end up taking your abrasion off, you'll have to do it again. Same process. You bring it to the well and you throw it in. Make sure you have your abyssal echoes. The reason why you do this is because you want to make sure that if your roll is low, you can just roll it again. Because you see that I got the lowest roll, so I got another chance to get a higher one, and I got a higher one. So there we go. And that's pretty much it. Once you're done doing that, you have your weapon. It's really that easy. If you're wanting the other modifiers in particular because you don't have enough strength to use something, or you don't want to have it on your gear, then you can just try to keep farming ones and hopefully hitting their reduced attributes. So moving on to the shield, you're going to want the Talhawan Great Shield, Tower Shield. It's got the most armor on it, and you need armor to scale your damage. So I bought one off the market with tier 1. You can get the tier 1 increased armor or the tier 1 armor added. Then you're going to want to take your perfect regal and your homogenizing, make sure it's turned on, hit it with that, and hopefully get another tier 1 defense. If you look, you'll see that there are two mods in particular that have the defense tag for the prefix. It's just both the armor mods. So if you can hit both those tier 1, then you're golden. After you've hit those both tier 1, you can activate your add prefix desecration mod and then hit it with a rib. And you're going to want to use your abyssal echoes because you're then going to want to try to unveil the increased armor and stun threshold for the extra armor added on there. Then you can take a homogenizing exaltation, hit it with the exalted orb, hope that you get some nice resistances on there. It will also move the tag from the defense onto the suffix, giving the armor applies to elemental damage, and then that tag has elemental on it. And there's a bunch of elemental tags. You could get maximum resistances on there, but you're going to want to just try to get regular resistances. I got really lucky with my rolls, so this is a really good shield for being only one socket. And you just want to make sure you have quality. You socket it, your increased armor rune in there, and then you're good to go. And this is a really good shield that can take you all the way to the end game easily. For your more expensive weapon, you're going to want to buy a magic mace, or not. You don't need to buy a magic mace. Just buy any mace with the 7+ skills on it, and then you will take, if you do have a magic, you'll take a regal, slam it with the regal, hope that you get the mods that you want. And then after that, you're going to go to your omen of sinistral crystallization. Make sure that's on, so it's only pulling from a prefix modifier. Then you'll take your essence of abrasion after you trigger this on. And then you will replace your prefix mod with the essence mod for the extra damage. The reason why I do the Sinistral one is because I want to actually remove that off there, the fire damage, because it has no use for me. These mods that you see on the prefix, the accuracy and the elemental damage, are the only really useful ones outside of the two that we're putting on there. So I actually just replace this. If you have the currency to do this, you'll replace this mod. Then you can hit it with another Exalt and see what kind of mod you get. And if it's still not the mod that you want, then you have a 50-50 chance to just replace it again. You might end up replacing your essence mod, and then you just keep rinsing and repeating this step. If you end up getting a mod that you don't want in the end, after you've filled both of these on, then it doesn't really matter that much. It's just a little bonus. The accuracy isn't gonna take you like to the next level. It will boost, it'll show a boost on your damage a bit, but you're pretty much always hitting with this AoE that it has. So don't worry about that. You just want to make sure you have your 3 mods: the skills, the armor break damage, and the extra damage is physical. Everything else is just a small bonus. So we'll hit that with an Exalt, and then you will take your Omen of the Liege, Preserve Jawbone to make sure it's a Manamu modifier, and you'll hit your weapon with that. And you'll notice that sometimes it will say this, that it can't apply. The reason why it does this is sometimes because it wants to fit a suffix mod on instead of a prefix. So you'll just keep hitting this until you get it, which is really weird. I had to figure this out one day crafting, and I thought I bricked my item, and I didn't, and it ended up fixing it. But that's how it works. So just keep hitting it until it works. And then you'll have your echoes on. Hopefully you get a high roll right away like I did. You don't need to re-roll again. And there you go. Weapon's done. That's it. It's not an expensive craft. This build is very doable for new players, at least when it comes to the weapon. Now for the shield is a bit more difficult. You're going to want to take your perfect orb of transmutation and pray that you hit a % armor that's T1 or a % added armor that's T1. And I got really lucky with this, but the luck only goes so far. Now you have a chance to regal the defense on too, but now your odds of getting something bad are way higher because now you have only a chance to add a minimum modifier level of level 50 instead of level 70, which is what the transmutation and the augmentation do. So you're just gonna hope that you get what you want, slam that on there. It will copy a defense mod, so you're either gonna get, by regaling, you're either gonna get the armor, or you're gonna get the suffix, which is the elemental damage taken as armor, or armor applies to elemental damage taken. So I got super lucky with this one. I mean, it's a T2, but it's still really good. It's not worth annulling this and doing this whole other process. You'll just take your omen, take the rib, omen for the prefix, and then you hit that on. And you're gonna hope that you can get the mod that has no tag on it, the increased armor and stun threshold. And now don't be like me where I forgot to get the abyssal echoes and I didn't get a chance to re-roll this. So, you know, I get too caught up in some of the stuff that you do here. It's easy to mess up a roll. And in this case, probably would have been better to take a perfect exalt to it. But see, I did everything wrong here. So I'm just gonna keep it in there so you could see how things go wrong when you don't double and triple check what you're doing. And this happens all the time. Could have had better mods on here. Could have worked out better for me, but haste makes waste. So this is what we get out of this. And it's depressing. So we go to the next one. So for this next method, this is the chaos spamming method. So you start off with the normal shield, 2 sockets. You put your transmutation on, and if you don't get what you want, you're going to just hit it with a regal and then annul it, a mod off, so that you just have 1 mod on, and then you just chaos spam until you get the armor. A tier 1% armor or a tier 1 added armor. And then we start chaos spamming from here for the tier 1 armor percentage or added armor. Alright, now that we have this, we want to pray that we get at least tier 1 or tier 2 armor mod on here. We got 2 tier 1s. Now we can hit this again with another perfect exalt. This should put the defense tag for the suffix, because there's no other defense tags for the prefix, of the armor also applies to elemental damage. And this should give us a tier 2 version of that. Not generate the mod. Oh. Remove that. Put that on. And then after this, we take our Omen of Sinistral Necromancy for the prefix mods to add on. And since we have 2 tier 1s, I would actually go and grab an Ancient Rib, put that on, desecrate this on for the prefix. After you've done this, you can, if you want, I know these are actually, I mean, they're not super perfect rolls. I would say they're pretty high though. You can try to keep your elemental damage on there. The armor applies as elemental damage, though it's kind of a low roll right now. So it's up to you if you want to use a fracturing orb. Since we already have the tier 1 armors, I don't think it's really worth it, but that's up to you. And then after this, head over to the well. All the souls. And then we hope that we get the mod. Oh, we gotta make sure we have an Abyssal Echo on too. Do not forget the Echo. You want to be able to roll twice here. And we got it. That should be the tier 1 armor and stun threshold. And we have 1536 armor on there. And now to finish this off, I would take the Omen of Greater Exaltation. Go back over here. Actually, I would use the homogenizing as well. Use this. You get the extra 2, and you're going to hope that you get 2 high roll resistance modifiers, which will go off the suffix tag. And then you'll be done with this. So we got fire and cold resist. A tier 4 and a tier 2, which is pretty typical. And that's that. You have your shield now. Hopefully you got as lucky as I did. If you end up with a tier 2 armor, what you can do is, after you have the 3 mods and before you unveil the desecrated mod, you can actually try using the fracturing to see if you can land the tier 1 armor. And then you can annul the other ones off and then just try to chaos spam the armor, the other armor, to T1. And then once you have that, do the same process, add the desecration on, and then do the same greater exaltation and homogenizing process until you get this end result. And that's all I got for now. Good luck crafting Exiles. I'll post a video or clip of my failing the Sanctifying the weapon. Bye for now.